welcome back to the magazine Lifestyle TV. This is your host, Darcy Castro. Today, we're going to talk fitness and lifestyle. I mean, we all need to have these discussions, especially right now, right? So I've got with us today, Leah Mello of the Royal Caribbean Group. She is the Director of Wellness and Fitness. Did I get that right, Leah?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Well-being, wellness. You can interchange those words.
That's right. Well, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, right? Because I
Yeah.
think everybody's got their own perceptions about that. But
Yes.
tell me a little bit about your professional backgrounds.
So I went to school for exercise physiology, and I graduated from Barry University in Miami Shores. And I was first just, personal training, teaching classes. I was managing amenities and luxury condominiums all throughout South Florida, specifically Miami. So that was kind of my thing for 5 years, and got a little bit bored with it. And this position opened up for corporate wellness, and corporate wellness is something I had always had my eye on. And ironically, I was an intern 5 years prior to that at Royal Caribbean. So it's funny how things come full circle. They remember you, and they say, I remember that when I had the interview, one of the interviewers said, "Hey, were you an intern like back in 2013? And I said, "Yes, I was." And he said, "I remember you." And then they called me for the job. So that's how it all happened. So.
Oh, cool. And living the life down there in South Florida cannot be bad. So when I think Royal Caribbean, I'm thinking aerobics on cruise ships, but I'm thinking what you're doing is a little bit more a broader scope than that. So tell us, what is corporate wellness?
Corporate wellness is more than just, let's say, an on-site fitness center that you might have. If you're lucky, if your company is lucky enough to have that, great. And I think that's what it really started out as. Back in 1999, that's when it first started. It's incredible to think that they've been doing this for over 20 years when corporate wellness was not popular. It wasn't really something talked about, needed. Now it's a competition. They put a fitness center there, and the fitness center then grew to, okay, we have the employees, they can, work on their physical well-being, but what about their mental? What about their spiritual? What about their financial well-being, social well-being, environmental? And that is the idea of what corporate wellness is. So I always say we're more than just a gym. It is your total well-being. And if it's like a puzzle piece, if your physical well-being is on point, that's great that you did a yoga class this morning, but did you not sleep good last night? And what about your spiritual well-being? What about your financial well-being? Maybe you're going through a divorce and you're having a really hard time. We provide resources for the employees across all 8 dimensions of wellness or well-being, whatever word you would like to decide to call it.
What a holistic view.
Yeah.
That's really interesting and frankly, very inspirational. I didn't know that corporations were taking on that. It sounds like it's kind of something that falls maybe under the HR umbrella or the employee services.
Yep. HR, employee benefits program, definitely. It's really competitive now. I mean, it was first more big tech companies were doing it. Again, you need some money to back it up. You have to have leaders too who really believe in this. If you don't have, our CEOs are incredible. They are always pushing for this. And without that support, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So it's now becoming very competitive. And I would say if you're going to go work for a company and they don't have some kind of program like this, they're a little bit behind the times. And at Royal Caribbean, for being just a cruise industry, we're right up there now with those big tech companies, some of those more progressive companies. And it's incredible that, I'm an honor to be a part of it, honestly.
Yeah, you mentioned these 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah.
So we're talking about more than just your typical health and fitness. I think when we think wellness, that can mean different things to different people. So to you and what you're doing, what exactly does wellness mean?
Again, it's like I describe it like a puzzle piece. And I think for me, it was always natural because of my background in exercise physiology. It's always natural for me to, be more to the physical wellness side. I mean, that's what I was studying. But as I got more into experience, I realized to be a healthy person, it is way bigger than your physical well-being. And that's what we want to educate and we bring. We really have a culture of wellness at Royal Caribbean. And we make sure that we tap into all these different dimensions of someone's life. And that's how we support our employees. And it's been the most effective, and they've learned more about that, where, some people have said, Leah, I never thought about my environmental well-being. And it's like, okay, well, what do you do for environment? There's so many different resources that we can tap into. So again, I think it's more being broadly talked about, and we're seeing it as something bigger than just a workout or the gym. It's
Mm-hmm.
much bigger than that. So.
Mm-hmm. Taking it outside of the work setting, kind of this corporate idea of integrating this form of wellness, which I think is fabulous. So to everybody
Mm-hmm.
out there doing that, kudos to the different
Yes.
industries employing that. But how can people like you and me integrate this into everyday life? Maybe expanding our thinking beyond what we expanding, have a little paradigm shift of what wellness might be to us.
Mm-hmm. Like, just you're saying, if your company, if you don't have a company that offers stuff like this,
Yeah. How can we
I
think
would
about this
say,
as average folks in our everyday life? How can we expand our thinking of what wellness is?
just having an understanding too of balance. And I think it comes, you do need to understand it, because again, I admittedly went for many years with not getting a lot of sleep, or I wasn't thinking about maybe as much as my nutrition. It was just all more physical. I think you have to have the understanding of this balance, but I would just say for the average person, just be well versed in all
Mhm.
aspects of life, and know that that's really the
Right.
only way that you're going to be
Right.
the most healthy, just all around healthy.
Right. How can we find the inspiration that we need to do a better job of integrating a more holistic view of wellness into our life?
Oh, well, health is wealth. Health is everything. I just did a recent health panel, and it was actually called Health is Wealth, and we all had to talk about why we thought health is wealth. And I would just say your health is the most important thing, or at least for me it is. When somebody asks me what's my top 3 most important things, I go health, happiness, my family, and then I'll, talk about other things. But really, like, health is the foundation of everything good in your life. And some of my most unsuccessful times, I would say, and we've all had our ups and downs, I can directly correlate those times to maybe when I was not as healthy, or not as just well balanced with wellness. Again, my financial going on, my mental health is in check. All of that has to come together, and I just think that's you being the best version of yourself.
Right. Yeah, I love that concept of the different pillars. I'd never thought of
Yeah.
it that way. And that's really an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that used to be sleep was looked at as something for the weak that we could
Yes.
all in all hours of the night and get up at 4 o'clock a.m. and start it all over again. But really
Totally.
do that, can we? Do you see the culture shifting in that department to be more accepting of those types of self-care?
Oh, absolutely. I think that is like totally like an old school way of thinking. Oh, so I'll sleep when I'm dead, or I'll sleep
Right.
just for the week. I mean, really, I wish I had actually known a few things like sleeping better early on in my career, because I think I would have just been, once I discovered how good it feels to get that good 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. I said, this is life changing for me. I'm more patient. I'm able to handle just different obstacles that might might face throughout the day. It's just a total change. You're more sharp. Um, and if you're somebody who cares about getting a good workout in the gym, a good night's sleep is going to give you that too. Good luck trying to do it, on 3 hours of sleep. You're just not functioning optimally. That's just what it comes down to.
Right. And there's only so long you can lean on caffeine.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but good sleep really is one of the key foundational aspects of our immunity and our mental acuity. Is
Absolutely.
that right?
Yep. One
Yeah.
bad
Well,
night
right
of
now,
sleep.
how important is that?
No, extremely important. Actually, it's
Yeah.
it's so much so that they have studies shown that, like, one bad night of sleep decreases your T cells and
Right.
cancer fighting antibodies by 70% the next day.
Wow.
So just imagine, that means with bad, like, terrible sleep, you're just walking around kind of asking to get sick. And right now, as we know, the hot topic is COVID. You have to take care of yourself. I always tell people, if you didn't really care about your health before, I really hope you're thinking about it now, because this is all we got. COVID doesn't care what race you are, how old you are. Of course, older age they're more susceptible, but really it comes down to how healthy are you, and are you going to be able to make it through? Because it's not if we get COVID, it's when, but how do you handle it? How do you combat COVID? And it's really going to come down to your health.
Yeah, so interesting. Really, it is a good idea. Good opportunity for all of us to kind of reevaluate our own
I think so
wellness
too.
and our wellness goals. What about some people that are stuck in a rut? We have these perceptions of what exercise is supposed to be, what
Mhm.
healthy eating is supposed to be. Sometimes we need to challenge those notions that
Yep.
we have. But what if we're stuck in a rut? What should we do?
I think a lot of people get stuck in a rut. I think people have waves of where they're really healthy and then they fall off a little bit. Here's a prime example. We just had a Royal Caribbean employee by the name of Michael Fetz. I think I pronounced his name wrong. He just lost at the start of COVID. So when we closed, which was around March, he decided, he was obese pretty much his whole life. And he decided, I really need to, for the first time in my life, take control of my health. Michael lost, in a span of, I would say, over 10 months, lost 215 pounds. Wow. From the start of COVID to the end. We just awarded him the Wellness Warrior Award. Well, now we're calling it Wellbeing Warrior Award. Mm-hmm. And we award these to employees who are demonstrating all 8 dimensions of wellness, or in his case, he is demonstrating all 8 dimensions, but he lost 215 pounds. And that had a lot to do with just him saying, I've been in a rut my whole life, and find your why. And I think that's all you have to do. If it's being around your kids longer, if it's maybe you want to look good in that bikini, I don't care. If that's your why, if that's your motivation, but find the why and just go for it. And it's going to be life-changing, but the health benefits to me are the best part about it. It's nice to fit into your jean size that you want, but it's really, we're talking about longevity. We're talking about living to see another day. So I would say that you're in that rut, write down all the reasons why.
Right. What are some of your favorite types of exercise or things that you like to do for your own personal well-being?
So I'm high intensity. I have to say I love yoga, but it's not my passion. I don't teach yoga. I actually have a class I'm teaching at 6:30 right after I'm done with you. And it's going to be a legs, glutes, and abs class. So it's going to be pretty high intense. I'm requiring zero. Yeah, it's awesome. Requiring zero equipment. So it's for our employees. It's really for everybody. Family, friends, anybody can take the class. It's live on Instagram. And we keep in mind that people don't really have a lot of equipment. We teach the class. It's a 45-minute class, and we have classes running all week long, pretty much. You'll have sometimes 2 classes a day. So for my classes, high intensity. I like boxing, spinning, biking. I have a lot of energy to burn. So that's usually what works best for me. But definitely my routine in the morning, though, is I do a full body stretch with my foam roll. I get my mat on the ground. I have my cat that stretches with me. And that's my peace time. And then I go hit the gym hard.
I love that. And it does feel so good, doesn't it? Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's so great. Yeah, fitness is so important to so many aspects of our life. And for me, I've been, pretty active my whole life, and still every day getting started with the workout can be the hardest thing. But when I do it, as soon as I get started, and especially when I'm done, I just feel so good about myself and taking care of an aging middle-aged body. You need to put in the investment. So the bones don't start to creak too much. But isn't that funny that even if you've been doing it a long time, it can still be hard to make that choice every day?
Absolutely.
So that's not an unusual thing. So if anybody's feeling that, you are definitely not alone.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people too. Like, people really beat themselves up, and it's okay to have a day off. It's okay to say, I don't feel like doing this today. It's totally fine. And even for me, people say, oh, would you train 7 days a week? No, if I'll train 5 days a week, I'll train 6. If I'm feeling great that week, maybe I will train 7. And you know what? I have some off weeks where I train 3, and I say, I need to rest. I have to give my body that time. But again, it's not about beating yourself up. Get it the next day, and you're good. Like, just keep moving it. Do something at least once a day. I always say, even if it's just getting up from your workstation. So many people sit just nonstop for 8, 9, 10 hours, and they're only getting up to go eat something or go to the bathroom, but they're not going outside, walking, moving their bodies, and cause a lot of musculoskeletal issues for a lot of people.
Such good advice. Absolutely. I could not agree more. That's so important to keep moving. So, okay. I am imagining you work for a very cool company. You live in a very beautiful place.
Yes.
Tell me about, before I let you go, because I really
Okay.
appreciate your time, but I have one more question for you.
Okay.
Favorite places, best cruising destinations from your experience. Give us the insider tips.
Ooh, so I think, well, my dream is to do one of the Asia tours. I think that would be incredible. I've never been to Asia, never traveled that way. So I hear incredible stories about that. I would say if you're interested in trying a totally different culture, especially if you're in Western culture right now, get out there. And that for me would be a dream. Who knows, maybe in my future when we start, of course, sailing again, which it's going to happen. I have no doubt about that.
Gonna happen, Leah. I have to tell you, I was scheduled to go on my very first cruise ever in the spring of 20. And it got
I'm
canceled.
sorry.
So I know we
sorry, but
all
we'll be
have a
back.
lot to look forward to when
We'll be
the
back.
ships sail again. Yes,
They
absolutely.
will.
And
Yep.
I feel really good knowing that Royal
Yep.
Caribbean is doing, just being a leader and doing all of this for their employees. I had no idea.
Yes.
So yeah, it's such a pleasure to meet you, and what a gift you have, and to be able to, live your passion in your career. It just must be outstanding. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you be well.
Thank you so much. Be well.